We're live.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, we are live, everybody. So you're back on the RBN YouTube channel. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming two gentlemen. I'll get to them in a second as we go through a pre-game analysis of Game One, the Boston Celtics at Golden State Warriors Chase Center. I have with me DZ or Ndiwa, as I know him as. DZ, please say hello.
Hello.
Quick introduction. Deez is a very, very much clued up on these American sports, and I really can't wait to hear what these guys have to say, how they're looking at how this game's going to be won tonight. I'm a big Golden State Warriors fan simply because of Steph Curry. So wherever Steph goes, I'm going to follow. I'm one of those. I'm not your diehard NBA fan, but I'm a fan enough to know that I do want to do this. I'm passionate about this, and I think you guys are going to enjoy what we're going to see today. So can't wait to hear what Deez has got to say. And as always, there is going to be an anti-D's. Sorry to introduce you as the anti-D's. JJ Henry, please tell everyone hello.
Hey, look, man, you can't define me by calling me an anti-Deezy. I'm just me. Yeah.
I pulled you in on that one. I pulled you in on that one.
You can position it that way if you want.
I want to break the objectivity, basically.
And a hero.
Yeah, so just to let you guys know about JJ as well, I'm gonna let these guys speak for themselves because if I build them up and they're going to be way better than what I build them up about, then you'll be like, oh, I sell them short. If I build them up and they don't meet you guys' expectations, then you're gonna be like, I built them up too much. So I'm gonna let their speaking and their talking do what it does. Because at the end of the day, the guys who are playing tonight, we can say Curry's going to do this, Tatum's going to do that, and such, and they could just have like a bad game, and we would have called it wrong. So I think in looking at what they've seen through experience, what they've seen in the season, and where they see this game being won or lost, we're going to get to benefit that way. So first of all, you are not the anti-Ds, but JJ, I want to come to you first of all. Where do you think this game is going to be won tonight? Let's just go with this game. Don't look at the series. So I want you to put series in total at your mind pot section. Just first game, even though it's at the Chase Center, and we know Warriors are strong there. But where do you think this game is going to be won tonight?
Look, and I guess it's important to give context, right? The Golden State Warriors' path to the finals has been very different than the Boston Celtics' path to the finals. The teams they've played, the way they've played, the style they've played has not prepared them for this type of team. The Boston Celtics defense is all-time. It's phenomenal. They've got 5 players on there that got a Defensive Player of the Year vote. That lets you know that they've got a solid defensive lineup. So I guess from a Golden State perspective, if I was part of that team, what I would be looking to do is exploit the fact that Boston's offense isn't great, the fact that Boston's offense relies heavily on turnovers. So looking after the ball, being smart with the ball, not relying on isolation is what Golden State need to be thinking about. From a Boston Celtics perspective, Golden State give up the ball a lot, but they're very effective in crunch time. So Boston Celtics need to exploit the fact that they turn the ball over. They need to make sure that they're playing smart switching defense so that they're going out to the shooters and not giving them any space. And more importantly, in the last 5 minutes of the game, we call that clutch time, right?
Yeah.
And Boston Celtics clutch stats are not very good. Golden State's clutch stats are amazing. So Boston Celtics need to make sure that they not only look after the ball and exploit the mismatches on defense, but that at the end of the game, that they're executing. So I guess I'm saying all of that to say, what I expect from today is Golden State will get the win. It will be a close game, I imagine, because Golden State are a very, very, very good offense, but then Boston Celtics have a good defense, and there'll be a feeling out process. So I'm going to say home game, Golden State win by 7. But yeah, we'll talk more about the details after, but that's my prediction.
Thank you so much. So these, I'm gonna kind of let you answer 2 questions. Same question to you, where you think the game will be won tonight. But then I also want you to say who are the key players to look out for tonight. We know the protagonists, but are you willing to give up anyone else that someone's not going to be looking at? Since, as JJ said, the defense is going to be key. Because Golden State Warriors' defense is not poor. It's just not like where Celtics has been and given who they've played. So I want you to bring something that maybe JJ hasn't mentioned yet, or others won't be looking at after you answer where the game's going to be won tonight as well. Off you go.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, I think the Warriors are going to win tonight. I think they got home court. I think they're going to be motivated, like both teams are. They're well rested because their series finished about a week ago. So any aches and pains, I think Gary Payton Jr. is back, and I think pretty much everyone's back. I think even Iguodala was meant to be available tonight. So Golden State's got everyone ready and available. Boston finished their series Sunday night. So it's still, I mean, they've had 4 days off, so they should be fine. I think Tatum had a bit of an injury, like a slight one, but I think he had some spasms, but it should be fine to go. I think for me, the key is going to be Wiggins in terms of, I think he's a bit of an X factor, and Jordan Poole really off the bench. But regarding what you guys said about Boston and Golden State's defensive rating is 106.7, which is they're both exactly the same. If you look at them for over the season, in terms of like the defensive rating, including the playoffs, it's 106.7. Both, I think ESPN released that stat today. So like they've both been really good on that end, but they've had different roads to get there. Obviously, like Golden State played Denver, and Denver were missing guys. They played Dallas, and Dallas done really well to get there, but they only really had Luka in terms of like a guy really keen in terms of like on defense. While the Celtics, like their path, they had to play Giannis, KD, and Miami. But I think that Boston will benefit from the fact that like they've been playing teams with guys who've been hurt. You know, like they didn't play Middleton. The Nets were a bit of a mess because of how the season went. And this guy from Miami, the sixth man of the year, he missed, Tyler Hero missed the last, I think, 3 games of the series from game 3 to 4. And he's averaging 20 points and 40% shooting from 3. So he makes a big difference to like the Heat's offense. He's the second best player. So in a way, they've kind of benefited from that. So I think to see a Golden State Warriors team that's fully healthy and plays a completely different style to the other teams that they've been playing, because other teams have been playing it's kind of like, well, the Nets was focused on KD and Kyrie. The Bucks was all Giannis because like there's no Middleton. So the basic unit, if we can just basically guard these, but while with the Warriors, they've got 3-4 shooters out there. They've got because if you look at Steph, doesn't dominate the ball. Steph moves a lot. They've got Clay's a catch and release type guy. Jordan Poole can light you up. So the Warriors games are based upon movement basically, and they haven't really seen that so far. And if you look at the one they played in the regular season, the first one was like a COVID game, so a lot of guys are missing. Both teams are missing players. And then the second one, Marcus Smart injured Steph Curry, so that kind of changed the dynamic of the game. And I think there's going to be a bit of an X factor there because obviously the Warriors were really unhappy with what Marcus Smart did in the regular season. Steve Kerr made a big issue. What did he say? He said it's against the rules of the game or something, or he called it a dirty play. I think he called it a dirty play when Smart.
Okay, so you're saying there's going to be some needle tonight then?
Yeah, because guys, I mean, the Warriors were particularly upset about that. Draymond came out and said they thought there was a dirty play, basically.
Draymond doesn't need an excuse, though, guys.
Yeah. And, I think as well, if you look at the Celtics big man, he was in and out the last series. He missed most of the earlier series. I think I don't know, Jermaine, like, is he back?
Robert Williams has been in and out, but his injury is something that's going to require a few weeks or months to heal.
So he's going to be the same situation for the finals. It's going to be basically
the same.
I was going to say, because Draymond's not the biggest player, so I think if he was fully available, if Robert Williams was better, we might have changed the series a little bit. Because Draymond's 6'8", 6'9", 6'7". So basically, I think having him in and out would have really, I think that would have made a difference if he was fully available. But I think the Warriors are going to win tonight. I think it's going to be game one's always case like feeling both teams kind of going to feel each other out, kind of see what's going on and see who's doing what, and then game 2 they'll make adjustments. But I think tonight, I think the Warriors will win game 1. You know, I also want to give a shout out to LeBron. He became the first billionaire active players. You know, so I know that he's home watching. So you know, it's
You know what?
JJ, why is he bringing up LeBron? Leave LeBron alone. Leave the GOAT alone. Leave him alone.
Also, just one last thing before I pass it back. One last thing. The Celtics, this is the first time here since 2010 for all the players. I think pretty much everybody. I think except for the coach, who's been here before because he was a coach of the Spurs. And if you look at the fact that both these guys, actually both coaches, once coached for the Spurs, so they're basically like they know each other really well. And but then the fact that the Celtics are for the first time since 2010, when they played Kobe's Lakers, basically. So I think with them, there's going to be some nerves there. I think because if you look at like Al Horford, I think there's a stat that he played the most playoff minutes without playing in the finals of any player, any active player. And one had played more playoff games than Al Horford without making the NBA finals. And for Tatum and Brown and all these guys, it's the first time here. While the Warriors, it's like a second home. This is what, like, I think the sixth. This is what, like the sixth finals in 8 years.
Yes, yeah, 6 and 8
So
years.
for them, the finals was like a second home for them. So there shouldn't be any nerves with them. I think the Celtics, it'll be interesting to see how they deal with the pressure and of being in this situation for the first time. So I think that's going to be interesting to watch, see how which I think might mean that they're going to start slowly, and the Warriors, I think, are going to come out. So we'll see. But I think, yeah.
Just one more thing before I pass back to JJ. Is there a player on each side that maybe some of us are not so, used to being talked about? I mean, one thing I do know, to reference the guys on like TNT and Stephen A and these guys, they don't just go for the big guys that we know. They talk about the whole team, and that's one thing I like to see that. Wiggins, yeah. So you're saying Wiggins?
I think he's enough to guard Tatum. So,
and on Celtics side, is there someone that we should be looking at that we don't know about?
I think
not being spoken about. Sorry.
I mean, people spoke about Marcus Smart, but I think he's going to have to play smarter than he's been playing.
You didn't mean that pun, did you?
No, he basically, like, they've been winning. If you look at like the fourth quarters and stuff, he's like, if you look at the game on Sunday, so like he nearly threw it away. And,
I saw that.
Yeah, and that happened. Like there was a game against the Bucks where, like, I think he's gonna have to like calm his nerves down a little bit because clearly those are nerves. And I think this idea of wanting to be the guy, of wanting to make your name because he knows everybody's watching and just play team basketball, man. I think long as he focuses on doing that, because if you look at the game on Sunday, I think there were 4 or 5 plays in a row where he's trying to be the guy, and just play the flow of the offense. Don't try and be that guy, And so I think he's gonna have to. Like the key for me, if the game's close in the fourth quarter, like Jermaine said about the Bucks, the Warriors are very good in terms of like the last 5 minutes, and the Celtics haven't been. I think that's down to nerves.
All right, okay. So JJ, we're gonna come to LBJ last because I wasn't even expecting that, JJ. I mean, like, come on, this is the finals.
Now, look,
we know you ribbed the goat online, but you can't be ribbing the goat online. You can't be ribbing them online.
Bro. Let me land. Yeah.
Go.
Deezy's dropping that now because he knows full well if he says that early, it's recorded that he can't hate LeBron, right? So it looks like he's putting out those flowers so that if he says anything anti-LeBron, he's got balance. So it's smart. It was strategically placed. It was completely outside of the realms of the conversation, but it's fine. We'll take it. So
all right.
Back to your question about X factors. So I agree with Deezy that Wiggins is going to be a big X factor for the Warriors for a number of reasons, which I won't touch on all of them. But with the Celtics, Tatum's the guy everyone talks about, right? If you look at the stats, Jaylen Brown's stats are almost identical to.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that Jaylen Brown is an under the radar player, but the way people talk about Tatum being maybe a top 10 player, and the fact that Jaylen Brown is statistically on par but not considered on that level, I would say that he's supremely underrated. The guy is an amazing defender. He's a good shooter. He's improved his passing. He's a bit wild sometimes on the drive. He get a bit impetuous in that area and causes some fouls sometimes that you have to question. But having those two big wings is going to be a lot to deal with for the Warriors. But luckily for the Warriors, they've got a slew of players that are between the heights of 6'7" and 6'9" that can guard him. You've got Wiggins, you've got Draymond Green, you've got Kuminga, you've got Otto Porter Jr., you've got Klay Thompson.
If Iggy's back.
When
Klay Thompson's your 4th best wing defender,
your team's in a good place. Yeah.
So I would say that I would personally, as an observer of the Celtics, I would find ways to try and get Jaylen Brown ball as much as possible, get him the support he needs. But yeah, I think the Golden State Warriors are pretty well set up to defend the Celtics based on their length.
All right, then. Okay, so lastly for tonight, then, that was a good way of sorting out the LBJ thing, because I didn't know that backstory as to why he did that. I'm thinking, come on, D's. At least at the end of the series, bring that. Oh, LBJ is not the one who's won, and you're coming at the start. Come on.
Give the man his flowers. I saw you there. Just give the man his flowers.
If JJ didn't say that, I would not have known.
But you know what? I wanted to like say something about the Celtics. I mean, they need to I know that they're a young team, and they're probably going to think that we'll be back even if we lose. The history of the NBA says that might not be the case. When you get to the finals, you go to cash in. And
I'm glad. Sorry to jump in on you, Deez. Sorry, because I wanted JJ to touch on it. I'll come back to you.
Oh, that's right. Go ahead.
Yeah, Deez mentioned that the fact that they're new, and he's brought that back in today again. Remember the Raptors 2 years ago, they were new. And as much as, you know, they were balling out that year and had, what's his name, Kawhi, and doing bits, and obviously GSW didn't have KD towards that back end. You could almost argue that GSW still had something to take them if they wanted, but Raptors weren't. They were fearless. They didn't get nervous. They still did the thing. So do you think Celtics, can they do that and get over those nerves?
So to Deezy's point about being new, 100% agree. If you look back at the OKC Thunder when they had Durant, Westbrook, and Harden, they got to the finals in 2012, and their three best players were under 23. That's almost unheard of in basketball history. The assumption there was that they were going to be dominating the NBA for the next 8 to 10 years. The following year, they got rid of Harden, never got back to the finals again.
The Orlando Magic with Shaq and Penny.
It's not promised. Now, in regards to the Celtics, just here's an example of comparison, right? Finals games played for the Warriors, 123 finals games between all of their players. For the Celtics, 0.
Whoa.
So that tells you very quickly that the early part of this series is going to be down to experience. But then as you start to move towards the latter part, the one thing I always remember is everything's new until it's not. Everyone has to get there once before they experience it. But sometimes teams get there and then they win their first time. The Warriors won the first time they ever got there. You know what I mean? Like the Lakers have done that before. They got there with Magic Johnson in his first year in the league and won it. There's different teams. Jordan got there to the finals and won it first time. Getting there is the challenge. And if you look at the Celtics, they've got to the conference finals 4 times out of the last 6 years. So they've got experience in making deep runs. But I do think that being in the finals is a completely different game. It's a different kettle of fish, and they're going to have to do. They're going to have to settle their nerves a lot. Whereas the Warriors, they've been there, they've done that, they took the picture. They're going to have to contend with being complacent more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. All right then. So we've got you saying the Warriors by 7 points. These by how many points are you saying the Warriors tonight?
6 points.
6 points. Yeah. I'm going with you guys. I think it will be close. I think it will be close. We're looking at around that. So I'm hoping, I've put it out there, everyone. Hopefully I won't be too biased in the way asking my questions. I'm a GSW fan through Steph. But let's see how it goes. I'm looking forward to a good series. Prediction for the series in total before we go. These first. What are you saying? Who wins?
Warriors in 5.
Warriors in 5. So you're saying 4-1. All right. These what you so not these are JJ. What are you saying? Who wins?
I'm going Warriors in 6. I honestly think that the Warriors have a better team overall, but I do think the Boston Celtics defense is going to confound the Warriors for a couple of games. One thing to look out for your guy, Olu, is Steph Curry, when he scores more than 4 3-pointers, is undefeated in the playoffs. When he scores less than 4 3-pointers, they're almost 50-50. So if the Boston Celtics can play smart enough defense to prevent him from scoring threes, that in and of itself will give them a 50-50 chance.
Noted. Thank you for that stat. That's what I'm relying on you guys for. Appreciate you, Deez and JJ, for being on with us. NBA Finals brought to you by the RBN YouTube channel. We'll be back for the post-game analysis, so watch out for that. UK time tomorrow. And for those of us who will be sharing
Add one
this,
little thing as well.
go for it, sir.
Yeah, you look at the fact that like the Warriors, the key for them is always the third quarter. That's when they come.
Yeah,
like, if you look at the space that they're playing in, so
Yeah.
I think Boston going to be. I mean, like Ime Udoka is a former San Antonio Spurs coach, so he's played with like Greg Popovich, and he holds players accountable. So I think he's going to tell his players, third quarter, these guys are going to come. So that at halftime,
Be
we're going to
ready.
get ready. No, I think if the Celtics, if they can withstand that, then I think it'll be close. But if they get hit with that rush at the Chase Center, it's going to be loud. And if the Warriors come out and start hitting threes in the third quarter, then they could blow them out. But so I think that's going to be the key, depending on how that kind of goes. But yeah, man, it should be good. Should be good. I'm looking forward to
Excellent.
it.
Great. So we'll see you guys back, and thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Gentlemen, you've been wonderful. Thank you again, and see you guys when we do the post-game analysis. Bye-bye.
Stay blessed. Take care, guys.